Hey, what's up, everybody? This is RBT coming at you with my college football week 12 preview video. And man, there's like 2 more weeks left, or one or 2 weeks left of the regular season in college football. So man, this season flew by, and it's been fun. But I mean, we still have a few weeks left, so it'll be fun to see how everything ends out. Hopefully, USC will win out their games, so we can go to the national championship. But we can't control that. We'll just see where we go with that. And let's go ahead and go into these predictions. Thursday we have North Carolina at Virginia. Virginia's been playing better. They absolutely blew out North Carolina State a few weeks ago. Then last week they pulled out a shocker against Miami, a one point game. North Carolina was pounded by Georgia Tech. Man, nobody expected that. Georgia Tech put up 68 points. 68 points on North Carolina's defense, but I don't think that's going to happen again. Virginia, like I said, has been playing better. Phillip Sims is growing into a starting quarterback in Division I football, but I think North Carolina's offense is too much for Virginia, and North Carolina will win this game 38-27. Saturday, Florida State at Maryland. Man, Florida State's defense is one of the best defenses in the country. Maryland's down to their linebacker at quarterback. And if Maryland can only score 10 points in Clemson's defense, I don't think they'll score any more than a field goal on Florida State. So I'll go Florida State 34, Maryland 3. Iowa at Michigan. Iowa's been definitely a disappointment for Big Ten this season. They just can't get anything going, man. They can't. They're not playing as good as defense they've been playing in the past. Their offense is atrocious. They just can't win games. They gave Purdue the first one of the Big Ten season last week, and Michigan has been playing better. Denard Robinson should be back for this game, and even if he wasn't back, if Devin Gardner was the starting quarterback for this game, I still think they'd beat Iowa. But with either of the guys playing quarterback, I'll go Michigan 31, Iowa 13. Rutgers at Cincinnati. For all you Big East fans out there, this should be a fun game for you to watch. But I think it comes down to Rutgers' defense being better than Cincinnati's. Munchie Legault, I think, will struggle against Rutgers' defense because Rutgers' defense is probably the best in the Big East. Their defense is pretty dang good, for real. It's just their offense can be turnover prone. Gary Nova, only reason they have a loss in the season is because he threw 6 interceptions in a game against Toledo. If not, if they didn't have that bad game, they'd probably be ranked top 10 in the country. So it will be kind of tough though playing at Nippert Stadium. It can get crazy against top 25 teams at Cincinnati. But I'll go Rutgers 21, Cincinnati 17. Indiana at Penn State. Indiana's been playing better. If you take out last week where they're annihilated by Wisconsin. But Penn State doesn't have as good as a rushing game as Wisconsin definitely. Indiana does struggle against teams that can run the ball. So that's why I really thought they got exposed by Wisconsin last week. And Indiana does have to win out their games to go to a bowl game for the first time in a few years. But I think Penn State forces this game out of their butt somehow. Very close. I'll go Penn State 27, Indiana 24. Arkansas and Mississippi State. I'll go Mississippi State in this game. I think they're coming off a 2-game losing streak, and they want to get that eighth win of the season. Might be ninth. But Arkansas, you all know how Arkansas has done this year. I mean, they still have Tyler Wilson at quarterback, so I mean, they can score some points. But I think Mississippi State's defense is actually pretty legitimate. They played they played LSU tough last week, and I'm gonna go Mississippi State 30, Arkansas 21. Virginia Tech at Boston College. Just like I said about Indiana, Virginia Tech has to win their games the rest of the season to go to a bowl game. This is really unfamiliar territory for Virginia Tech fans because Virginia Tech's won 10 straight games in the past 6-7 years, some stat like that. And to be struggling to go to a bowl game is definitely something that Virginia Tech fans did not see going into this season, definitely. But they've gone through the meat of their schedule. They've gone through the hardest part of their schedule. They've already played Florida State, Clemson, and the last 2 games are very winnable. They can easily beat Boston College. They can very easily beat Virginia, and Boston College did play Notre Dame tough last week, but Boston College is still the Boston College that only has 2 wins on the season. And I'm going to go Virginia Tech in this game. It might be ugly, but I'm going to go Virginia Tech 28, Boston College 14. Man, so many SEC schools are playing FCS teams for some reason. Washington at Colorado. Colorado, the worst team in football. Not just the Pac-12, but in all of football. Well, it could be a toss-up between a team like them and Massachusetts and Akron, but well, I'll say they're the worst team in big time conferences. But with Keith Price, Washington offense should just annihilate Colorado like everybody does to Colorado. I'll go Washington 50 to 10, 50 to 17, Washington. No. Alabama A&M at Auburn. Only reason I'm saying anything about this game is because I have a really good friend. He's I've known him all my life. He plays for this is his freshman year at Alabama A&M. He's a wide receiver. He is redshirt this year, so he's not going to play. But so wanted to say something about that. He's a really good football player. Don't know why he didn't get recruited to. I don't want to say it, but if we had a different coach, he'd be playing for Auburn, not Alabama A&M. It's funny because he was an Auburn fan his whole life, and he's playing at Auburn his first year, so I'm kind of wondering who he's pulling for in this game. But Alabama A&M, I do think they're one of the better schools in the SWAC conference. They're 7-3. They so I mean they're a tough little team, but Auburn, as bad as they are, SEC talent is too much for a team like Alabama A&M. I'm not even gonna give this game a score because I don't even know what to say. Washington State at Arizona State. I'm gonna go Arizona State in this game. Washington State has been playing better, even with all the controversy over Marquise Wilson leaving the team. 18 starters, or not 18 starters, 18 players have quit the team. But Mike Leach still hasn't playing well, and I think they'll play tough. But I'll go Arizona State 38, Colorado, Washington State 31. South Florida at Miami. South Florida definitely this year was not expected by anybody. They're like, let's see what they are. They're two and something. They're 3-6. They had a stretch they lost 6 straight games, which included a loss to the Temple and Ball State, and they almost lost the second game of the year against Nevada. I remember that. They had to have a fourth quarter comeback, but with B.J. Daniels this being a senior year, man, I thought they had a chance to win the Big East because B.J. Daniels was a talented player. I even had him in one of my Dark Horse Heisman videos because he's just that talented of a player. But he's definitely been turnover prone this year. He's thrown a ton of interceptions, and they have talent on that squad. They really do. They can get the some I guess you could call them scraps that don't end up at Miami or Florida or Florida State, but they're from Florida. They end up being pretty good. And Miami, man, they can their defense can be exposed by teams with scrambling quarterbacks, but man, I think South Florida is just that bad this year, and Miami should win this game. With it being a rivalry game, I'll go closer than some people think, but I'll go 30-20 Miami. USC at UCLA. I think most Alabama fans are pulling for USC in this game because USC is basically it's the only hope that we have left to go to the national championship. And if USC wins this game, they're going to the Pac-12 championship game. And if UCLA wins this game, they're probably going to the Pac-12 championship game. And I think everybody understands that USC has a better shot of knocking off Oregon than UCLA does. So I'm pulling for USC in this game, and I do think they win this game. I mean, UCLA, Jim Moore Jr. has done an excellent job there. Brett Hundley's a great quarterback. Jonathan Franklin's been a really talented running back all throughout the year, been a surprise. And but I think USC on talent alone, they have more talent than anybody in the country. And this is a rivalry game, so this game will end up being close. But I'll go USC. USC 42, UCLA 35. Wake Forest at Notre Dame. Notre Dame will play this game close. They play every other game. I think they're looking ahead to USC. This possibly could be an upset. Boston College is one of the worst teams in football this year, and they only won by 15 points. So Wake Forest, I mean, they can be dangerous at times, but this is definitely a down year for them. They did beat Boston College themselves by 2 touchdowns. but Notre Dame will pull it out somehow. I'll go Notre Dame 27, Wake Forest 17. No, I'll go Wake Forest 14. Ole Miss at LSU. I do think Ole Miss could give LSU all they want and all they could handle, but LSU's defense is too much for Ole Miss, and they'll create a few turnovers. Ole Miss can be good until they throw a few interceptions, and that's what's happened to them in weeks past. They lost a heartbreaker to Vanderbilt last week, and this is their bowl hopes are growing thin, and they're going to be ready to play against LSU, but Death Valley's too much. LSU's going to win this game. I'll go 34 to 17. They will score 17 on them. North Carolina State at Clemson. North Carolina State's defense has been probably the most underachieved defense in all of football this year. And with Clemson's offense, they'll beat North Carolina State easily. I'll go Clemson 38 to 20. Clemson. Minnesota at Nebraska. Minnesota has been a Big Ten shocker this year. They're bowl eligible now for the first time in a few years. I think since 2008. They played against Kansas in the Insight Bowl, but Nebraska's too much. Nebraska's probably going to end up winning the Big Ten. Minnesota will come out to play. They'll play tough, but Nebraska will pull this out in the fourth quarter. And Nebraska, I'll say, will win this game 35 to 24 over Minnesota. Texas Tech at Oklahoma State. Texas Tech's coming off just an almost embarrassing loss to Kansas. Nobody wants to lose to Kansas. And Oklahoma State's coming off a good performance against West Virginia, scored 55 points. So I'll go. Texas Tech does have one of the better defenses in the Big 12, but Oklahoma State's firepower offense, I think, will override that defense. So I'll go Oklahoma State 42, Texas Tech 30. Duke at Georgia Tech. This game really can decide who goes to the ACC championship game. If Duke wins, it'll come down to the last week of the season, Duke versus Miami. And I think Duke's ready to play. Georgia Tech's a team that Georgia Tech did beat North Carolina by 18 points last week, but this is the same Georgia Tech team that lost Middle Tennessee State by like 20-something points. And Duke's going to be ready to play. They want a chance at one of the first ACC championship games in forever. I don't even know if they ever been to the ACC championship game. I'm not sure, but Duke, I say, will win this game. Duke, ready to play it, will win this game really close, 28 to 27 over Georgia Tech. Ohio State at Wisconsin. This probably will be Ohio State's toughest task of the year. James White, Monte Ball, definitely the best rushing attack in the Big Ten. It'll be tough playing in Madison, but Braxton Miller, Ohio State, too much in the end, and they'll remain undefeated. And Ohio State will win this game 30 to 27. Very, very close game. Purdue at Illinois. Two of the worst teams in the Big Ten this year. Illinois, man, just pathetic under Tim Beckham. Purdue did get their first Big Ten win of the year last week against Iowa, and I think they'll get the second this week. Illinois is just that bad, and Purdue will win this game, I think, by 2 touchdowns. I'll go Purdue 28, Illinois 14. Oklahoma at West Virginia, man. If you were asking me about this game in week 3, I'd say West Virginia would win this game. And now I think Oklahoma will win this game by 3 touchdowns. West Virginia's defense is just not on par with any type of conference. They're not on par with the MAC schools, not on par with the Conference USA schools. They're just not. Their offense is out of this world, but your defense is that bad, you're not going to go too far, especially in a conference like the Big 12. And the only hope for West Virginia fans is to get just to be insane, just to have a great environment, which they will at West Virginia. And maybe early they can cause some mistakes for Oklahoma just because of the crowd noise, but I'll give Oklahoma the win. I think they'll score over 50 points. I'll go Oklahoma 56, West Virginia 30. Syracuse at Missouri. Missouri's definitely been the worst of the two, with Texas A&M and Missouri come into the SEC this year. This will be an interesting out-of-conference game. It could come down to the wire because Syracuse are coming off beating the number 9 team in the country last week, which is Louisville. But I'll go Syracuse in this game. I do. Ryan Nassib, one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the country that you don't know about. Great passing attack, and I think Missouri might be overlooking Syracuse because it's Syracuse, and people don't think of Syracuse as being a good team. And I'll go Syracuse 31, Missouri 28. Tennessee at Vandy. Vanderbilt, this will be their first time, I believe, to beat Tennessee in a long time. I might get some heat from that from Tennessee fans because last year I thought Vanderbilt was going to beat them last year, but Tennessee comes out and wins. But that was at Neyland Stadium. This is at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's ready to win. This will be their 7th win of the season right here. They want more than anything to beat Tennessee, and Tennessee wants more than anything to beat Vanderbilt because Tennessee's season is down the drain. And if Derek Dooley loses this game, I think he'll be fired immediately after. Because you don't lose to Vanderbilt when you're at Tennessee, but I think it'll happen. And I'll go Vandy. Vandy 27, Tennessee 24. Oh, man. A few more games. Oregon State at Baylor. Kansas State at Baylor, sorry. Kansas State, I think, will get all they can ask for against Baylor. This is a night game. And Baylor, they played Oklahoma tough last week. They were at Norman Stadium, and it was a close game. Played them really tough. Baylor has a potent offense, but that defense is just sad. Baylor will play them tough into the 4th quarter, but Kansas State and Colin Klein will pull ahead, and they'll win this game by 2 touchdowns, I say, in the 4th quarter. And I'll go Kansas State 48, Baylor 30, Baylor 37. Stanford at Oregon. This will be Oregon's probably Oregon's toughest task of the season. But where they win this game is it's at Autzen Stadium, and teams don't go into Autzen Stadium and win too often. It's too much. Oregon's defense is just insane, and Oregon's offense is just insane. I meant to say. Stanford will play them close. I'll say it'll be a 2-touchdown game, the closest game of the season for Oregon. But I'll go Oregon 48, Stanford 34. Arizona at Utah. I'll go Arizona in this game. Rich Rod's team will be ready to play. Get another Pac-12 victory. That offense, it will just be too much for Utah. Utah they can be good at times, but they're just way too inconsistent. I'll go Arizona 38, Utah 27. And last but not least, Cal at Oregon State. Oregon State's coming off another disappointing loss against Stanford. And Oregon State, they very easily could be undefeated. They played Stanford close, and they played Washington very close. They're this close to being undefeated right now. And Cal, I'm not sure if Zach Maynard's going to be back for this game or not. I know he was hurt. Alan Bridgeford played last week against Oregon. And they did play Oregon tough. They played Oregon tough the first half, but then Oregon just like that scored 21 points and made the game look out of reach. But it was a lot closer than the score showed. But I think playing at Oregon State, it's going to be a tough environment. Cal will play them close, but Oregon State's defense is just going to be too much in the end. And I'll go Oregon State 27, Cal 21. So that's been my College Football Week 12 prediction video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, roll Tide, go Sox, and go Titans to you. I'll see you guys later.